I'm Owen Bigland. This is the Inside Edge video blog. Okay, I saw a couple of threads on Twitter. Hey, I'm a glutton for punishment. I spend very little time on Twitter. I'm actually limited myself now to about 5 minutes max on Twitter. I usually do it if I'm in the lineup getting a coffee or something like that. But I saw a thread under the Van Re hashtag about, and this has been going on for a long time. There's a bunch of these Twitter handles out there that will try and portray the Vancouver real estate market as in crash mode, and they've been doing this for 10 years on Twitter. And they'll point to certain homes or condos that have been price reduced and they're not selling and the days on market are building up. Like that's the entire market. You know, I've often said when it comes to condos, there's two worlds of condos. I'm buying into the top 5-10%. That's about all I'm interested in for downtown. The other 75 or 85%, some of it might be okay, but why bother? I'd rather wait for one of the premier stratas, the well-run stratas, good locations that I like to get my either principal residence buyers or a lot of my investors into. But they always will point to some home that was way overpriced, ridiculous, and they've slashed it a couple of times, or it's sold below tax assessed, like that means anything. Done many blogs on how tax assessed work. And like that, and they'll paint the picture like that's the whole market. Well, I saw one guy, it's always, I've got a friend who has a detached home that's been on the market. The detached market isn't hot at all. That's false. Nobody's buying detached homes because I've got a friend who's had his home on the market for 90 days and he's reduced it twice and can't get any buyers. Or the condo market's crashing because I've got a friend of a friend who's been trying to sell his condo for 7 months now and nothing. Well, yeah, I'm sure they do, but there's a very good reason for that, and you're not going to be able to paint one sale as with a broad brush that's the rest of the market. So in a nutshell here, I'll give you just a quick blog here on if you've got a home, whether that's a detached home or a townhouse or a duplex or a studio condo in Vancouver or Richmond or New Westminster or whatever, and it's not selling. In other words, it's been languishing on the market. Maybe you've reduced it once or twice and no buyers are stepping up. Well, I'll give you in a nutshell here. This is the reason why it's probably not selling. It's these reasons or a combination of these reasons. First and foremost, it's your price. Price is pretty much everything. If your home isn't selling, if you're not getting showings on it, if you're not producing offers on it, no matter where the offers are, you're probably priced too high. And when I list a home, pricing is so important, and this is why you want to hire a listing pro when it comes time to sell your home. And but pricing is key. And oftentimes though, I will test depending on where the market's going, because that's so important when you're hiring a realtor. You're hiring a realtor who sells a lot of homes and has a lot of listings currently, because that's the only way you're going to get a bead on where the market is on if you've got 6 or 7 other listings and you're selling 3 or 4 homes every month like I do. You'll know what kind of offers you're getting, what kind of action you're getting. Are you testing the market a little bit here because the market seems to be trending up, or are you one step ahead of it because the market seems to be trending low? That's why you want to hire a listing pro. But pricing is critical. And oftentimes though, I will list a home and we'll test a little bit of the high side because I feel that the market is trending up and I think inventory or competition is low. So for sure, let's put it out there. But I always make sure that my sellers and I have a clear understanding of where we are on pricing. And I tell Mr. Seller, we'll put it here, but the market will tell us a story within 2 weeks. When I first put this out and I expose it and get it in the Vancouver Sun, do the flyers, put it on my homepage, run the showings on the first couple of weekends. That's when maximum exposure is going to hit. If we don't get any serious interest in it, then we're going to need to reduce the price a little bit. The market will tell us a story. So if you've got a home on the market for 60, 70, 80, 90 days, you're priced too high, plain and simple. Second reason it could be, a combination of this, it could be exposure. And this comes down to what I've done many blogs on about interviewing 2 to 3 realtors when it comes time to list your home. List a marketing pro who sells lots of homes and has a detailed and extensive marketing program. I have an extensive marketing program and I have a lot of things that are exclusive to me, like access to the Vancouver Sun, access to my photographers, access, if it's a vacant unit, to the best virtual staging there is, bar none. Have a look at some of the virtual staging on my site and then compare it to some others. You'll see. As a matter of fact, you won't know my listings, nobody does, that they're virtually staged. They think it's real furniture in there. That's how good it is. Now, that's taking me years to cultivate. So a lot of it could be exposure. What is your realtor doing to create interest in this? Does he have reciprocity links to the listings? Is he allowing other realtors to take your listing and put it onto their website? What do the photos look like? Does he have floor plans? Is he available to show it at the drop of a hat? You know, these are all things that make a huge difference. It's about exposure and marketing. You know, the final thing, the third thing is it's simply unrealistic goals sometimes. The seller, you know, and everybody does this, you know, sometimes sellers think maybe their home is better than it really is. And sometimes, you know, these homes that I see languishing, usually they're in poor locations, noisy, hugging up on bridges. Maybe they're a older strata that has issues. You know, they've got remedial work that has been put off. Maybe they've got insurance issues on the strata, very high deductibles, very high premiums on the annual strata's insurance policy. Sometimes that can be it. So it's usually a combination of those three things: pricing, marketing and exposure, and the final thing is the unit maybe, or the home, isn't quite as good as you think it is. You know, it's on a busy street, or it's an irregular lot, or the house, it's an older house that needs a lot of repair. It needs a full renovation. And that's the case. You're not going to get full market price for that, because you've got to get a buyer there who's willing to pay, if it's a detached house, $1.6 million for it, let's say, and has a spare $200,000 to renovate it. So those are the various reasons why, if you've got a home, whether it's a condo or detached home, and it's been sitting on the market and can't get a buyer, it's one of those three things. Final thing I want to leave you with here just quickly, now that we're fall heading into winter 2020 here. Driving around the Lower Mainland, Richmond, Burnaby, New Westminster, I'm all over the place, East Side Vancouver, Surrey. I've been noticing on a lot of the busier streets here again now, land assemblies going up. I've noticed a huge spike in these the last 2 or 3 months. So you'll be driving along a fairly busy road and you'll see 5 or 6 for sale signs, and they're doing a land assembly. So I've done a few blogs on this earlier this year and last year as well, telling you about how the window opens and closes on these land assemblies, because I get people all the time that will call me or email me saying, Owen, you know, I've got a home in Renfrew area or off Main, and we're thinking about putting together a land assembly. Do you work in that area? And I tell them, no, I don't, but I'm happy to refer you to a commercial realtor. You want to use in my opinion, use a commercial realtor, an experienced commercial realtor, if you want to do a land assembly right. I've done some small compact lot deals where you could take 2 homes and do compact lots and turn it into 4. But if you want to do a major land assembly with 7, 8 homes and you're trying to sell it to a developer, I'd be going with a commercial realtor all day, and I'm happy to help you in that way and give you the introduction to it. But the window opens and closes on these land assemblies on detached homes, and I think maybe what's happened here is the detached market has been extremely strong, of course. And maybe some people are construing that thinking, well, hey, the detached market's strong, maybe now's the time to put our land assembly out there. Well, what they don't understand is it's 2 different worlds. The world for a single family detached home is incredibly strong, because your buyer there is going to be a family who's going to buy the home and live in it. And very little inventory, and prices have been spiking up here for the last 3 months. It's an incredibly red-hot market right now, seller's market. But when it comes to land assemblies, your buyer there is going to be a developer. And many of these land assemblies I see, they are not zoned. They don't have the FSR on them yet. In other words, they are not shovel-ready. And even the ones I'm telling you that are shovel-ready, because I've got several clients right now in East Vancouver that are involved in land assemblies. One in the Grandview Woodlands area, which is absolute prime. This one is on Nanaimo Street. It's zone 2.65 FSR C2, so commercial and 3 or 4 story condo. They've had this on the market for about nine or 10 months now. Now, they've had some lowball offers on this, but this is a shovel-ready development. Many of these ones I see for land assembly aren't. The window opens and closes. If you are in a land assembly right now, I would say, I wish you luck, and I don't know everyone's circumstances, but the window is not there for selling a land assembly right now. Developers are not buying these unless they can steal them. Unless they can steal them. Because there is way too much uncertainty right now, especially now coming out of COVID, but even before COVID, if you watch my blogs from earlier this year and last year, I was telling you that there's too much uncertainty. NDP government, developers do not like the NDP government. They never have and never will, especially when they're freezing rents and the added taxes. They don't like the city of Vancouver, our current mayor here, with all his crazy bureaucracy. So they are incredibly skittish right now. Most of them are on the sidelines for single-family home land assemblies. They are. It is a buyer's market for that. And if you're in a land assembly, I would tell you to just be patient. Now isn't the time. Take it off the market. Don't let those days on market build up, because they're only going to buy it if they can steal it from you. And I can tell you, I'm privy to one of my other clients who also is in a land assembly that they're getting ready to take it off now. They've had it on the market for about 6 months. They've had some crazy lowball offers, and it's a very prime assembly, I must add. But even the offers they did get, we're talking 6-month due diligence periods and then another 6 months to close. And you see, that's what these developers do. They not only want to get it at an incredible price, but they want to lock it down for a year. That way they can get out of it. They want to see what the market does by this time next year, come out of COVID. Hey, if we get some rays of light that are coming through by next fall, yeah, we'll remove the subjects on it. So it's not the time, but what I am telling you to tell you is the time will come. Be patient. You don't want to be selling a land assembly when it's all in the developer's favor. They're lowballing you on the price. The terms are going to be ridiculous. Super long times for due diligence, and then the closing date is a year out before you get paid. Those are dumb offers. You want to be in a situation, and this will come. It might be a year from now, it might be 2, it might be 3. It all depends on what happens with COVID, what happens with the economy, what happens with the government, interest rates. Eventually we will get what I call that coiled spring effect, where developers are on the sidelines right now. We'll come out of COVID, immigration will start kicking back up again, students will start renting places again, the inventory will be quickly eaten up, and we will be caught with our pants down, like we always do in this province, where all of a sudden we have no supply and we've got more buyers than we've got sellers. Now, it's what I call that coiled spring effect, because you're not going to turn the faucet on for new development. This takes years, 3, 4, 5 years from the time you secure the land till the time you're handing keys over. And that's what will happen. But be patient and wait for that. Wait for the coiled spring market. You want developers coming to you cap in hand. That's what I like. Laying suitcases of cash at your feet. That's when you want to be a seller in one of those land assemblies, where they're going to give you a crazy price. You'll probably get into a bidding war with a couple of developers. Their terms on their deal are going to be sweet. They're going to be quick closings. That's when you want to be selling a land assembly. This is not the market for that. But it's funny, I've seen a massive spike for some strange reason in land assemblies lately. This is not the market. You're going to find out. I wish you luck, and maybe some of them will sell. But in my opinion, it's just not the market right now, because I've got several newsletters of a couple of these big commercial realtors that do a lot of work in East Vancouver, and they do a lot of land assembly work. And I see their bulletin every week that they send me, and they're reducing the prices on these land assemblies. So not the market. I would say just be patient if you're in one, and wait until it's cap in hand and suitcases of cash from these developers. And again, it will happen. It's not if, it's when. It could be 2 or 3 years away from now. Get into a coiled spring market. Those are the best. I'm Owen Bigland. As always, I'll see you next week.